Welcome to the second part of the study of the poem A Thing of Beauty. So far we have seen what Keats has said about the speciality of beautiful things and how a beautiful thing removes a pall from our dark spirit in spite of so many kinds of things that squeeze us, that make us miserable. He lists them all already. Now he is going to describe all kinds of beautiful things. Some of them are very common. We know them. Some of them are not very familiar, or some are there which we have not noticed much. But all such kinds of things, all of them he is listing, and finally he winds up with an important, very important statement. It's a metaphor he is using there, and the same is the case earlier. He has used the flowery band. That was a metaphor for all the beautiful things. He called it a flowery band, making a comparison. And here again he is making a wonderful comparison, an implied comparison, a poetic device, that is metaphor there, and that is making the theme very clear, and that is making the physical aspect into a spiritual one, and that two lines, the last two lines, make this poem really a sublime one. Let us see that by listing out each of the beautiful things as Keats sees. The poet now lists out some of the beautiful things that make man forget his miseries in life and make him cling on to life. What are they? First thing he says, such the sun, the moon. The sun, the moon. There is no doubt these are beautiful, and there is no need to say why they are beautiful. In every way beautiful from time immemorial, and they have been worshipped and described in most elegant terms in all kinds of literature. Sun and moon, universally accepted symbols of beauty. And then he lists out some of them and why they are beautiful. See the difference. Sun and moon, he didn't say why they are beautiful and how, in what situation, in what condition they are beautiful. But all the other listed ones, they are beautiful in some particular situation, specially. They are beautiful anyway, but specially they are beautiful. So he is contrasting a beautiful thing in the absence or presence of something else. That is something very important you have to be careful about. First thing he lists out are trees, old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep. Yes, old trees and young trees, what are they doing? How are they beautiful? They are sprouting, providing shady boon to the simple sheep, even to the simplest of animals, sheep. They are providing shady boon, cool covered by trees, which is a blessing for this sheep and other animals, including human beings. When we are under the hot sun, we all go under a tree and stand under its shady boon. The cool covert we say, or the bower we say. So these trees are a bower for these sheep. So these trees are beautiful, young and old trees alike. They are beautiful. Then he comes, and such are daffodils with the green world they live in. And such are daffodils with the green world they live in. Yes, daffodils, these yellow flowers, against what? Against this green world they live in. See, against what? In what situation? The yellow flowers contrasting the green fields where they grow and break the monotony of the same color, green. Against what it is beautiful? Complete greenery is there, and there is only the symphony of green there, and there appears very beautiful yellow flowers of daffodils and gives great happiness to all the onlooker. Yes, the yellow flower against the green daffodils. And next, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. Yes. And clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. Yes. Clear rill. Rill, small stream or spring, very clear. Very pure water is flowing through a very small stream. And they themselves, that for themselves a cooling covert make. Yes, cooling covert make. They make a cooling covert by growing bushes, grass, shrubs along its banks. Small stream grows bushes and shrubs on its both banks to keep itself cool against the hot sun. Hot season means hot sun. So it remains cool by growing bushes on its banks. It's a beautiful thing, and its bushes and shrubs are also beautiful, especially against the hot season. It makes a cooling covert for itself, beautiful rill with bushes around. And then he comes to the mid-forest brake, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk-rose blooms. The mid-forest brake, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk-rose blooms. Musk-rose, this beautiful flower, it has such great fragrance. That musk-rose is so beautiful, but where does it grow? It grows in the fern. And what is the speciality of fern? This is fern. This image is that of fern. These ferns are green mass of fern. They are generally without flowers. The brakes or ferns do not bloom. So when musk rose blossoms among them, it's a pleasant contrast. Yes, this musk rose, it gives beauty in the form of color as well as fragrance to the ferns, this mid-forest brake, without any flowers blooming in them. And in that way we can say musk rose is the beautiful thing here against the ferns which have no flowers at all. There is no color except this green, and there is no fragrance because they have no flowers at all. These ferns. So mid-forest brake is ferns, these kinds of bushes. Normally they do not bloom. So this is the next one he has listed. And then he comes to the most discussed kind of two lines. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. Grandeur or the grandeur is magnificence or majesty or splendor. Splendor of the dooms, of the destiny, or the fate. What? The destiny of the mighty dead. The mighty dead, their destiny, we have imagined for. We have imagined for a grandeur about the dooms of mighty dead. Mighty dead is the great virtuous heroes who are no more. And remember, this is very much an allusion to Greek mythology. What is a Greek mythology? Let us see that. It's an imagery taken from Greek mythology. The grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. Ancient Greeks believed that their virtuous heroes the valiant heroes, great heroes, travel to a beautiful island beyond and live there an eternal life blissfully. This island was known as Elysium. This concept made the Greeks of classical times console themselves when they lose a great hero of their times. That is why we imagine great destiny or great afterlife for the mighty dead. This is further explained. When a great hero passes away, people feel often and depressed. When we come to the history, the recent history of our country itself, you have seen, otherwise you might have read it at least, the new generation might not have seen that. In our times, one of the greatest tragedy was the assassination of Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. The nation was shaken and there was a lot of repercussions. People were in tears and people were angry and so many untoward incidents followed. This happens when a very loved hero dies. When a very famous film actor dies. When a hero from the sports field dies, the admirers, the followers, or those who love them, like them, they feel so sad. And in order to cheer the spirits up, when a very important person, a hero, dies, they imagine that those heroes are actually not dead, but they are living happily in a beautiful island beyond. That is a Greek concept. It's a belief of the Greek mythology. This imagination helped to overcome grief upon the death of their beloved heroes like Achilles. You must be knowing Achilles. Achilles is arguably the most famous heroes among all the Greek warriors. And this is what he refers to, the poet refers to in these two lines. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. And remember, this Elysium he refers to in the poem itself, the same poem later, Endymion, he speaks about that. So he was an ardent follower of Greek mythology, and he is writing this poem, Endymion. Endymion is also from Greek mythology. He is a Greek mythical character. So these kind of ideas are very well known to Keats, and Elysium is also not an unfamiliar concept for him. So he says, we imagine of Elysium, where our great heroes go and live eternally, and they do not die like other people, ordinary people, and their life doesn't come to an end with their death, but these special heroes, great ones, they travel to Elysium and they live there, and that thought brings a kind of consolation for the grief-stricken followers. So that imagination of Elysium, how beautiful this Elysium is. These are images of Elysium. And then he comes to the last one among all the beautiful things. All lovely tales that we have heard or read. Yes. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, heard from our grandparents, grandmother's stories we used to say. All the stories we have heard, all the stories, great stories that we have read. Not all the stories, all lovely tales. How are they beautiful? Stories, old and new, make all happy as they fill our hearts with pure imagination and great values and feelings, and give us the necessary relief from the everyday monotonous routine and enrich us. That's it. When from our old stories, lovely stories, we are enriched. Some kind of good values are imbibed in us. Some kind of heroism sometimes is inculcated in us. and our mind became so peaceful after listening to a story, and we feel so happy after a nice story is narrated to us. So that such lovely stories also make us spirited. They also refresh us, and they also make us happy in spite of different kinds of troubles that affect our mind. All the lovely tales. And finally, he comes to the most important imagery of the poem, and as well as the theme of the poem. An endless fountain of immortal drink, pouring unto us from the heavens' brink. An endless fountain of immortal drink, pouring unto us from the heavens' brink. Fountain is a natural source or origin of water, as you see here. And he says, all those beautiful things are like a fountain. And where is it coming from? It's coming from the brink of heaven. That means actually all these beautiful things are originated not in earth, but it originated in heaven. And from there, it is pouring unto us from the heavens brink, because it is overflowing. It is exactly an immortal drink. Immortal drink in another word is elixir. In our Indian language we call it Amrit. That flows from the brinks of heaven to earth. Yes, all those beautiful things are just like a fountain that is overflowing from the brink of heaven, because it is filled there and it is overflowing into earth for our benefit. It's actually belonging to heaven. Poet compares the beautiful things to the immortal drink, elixir, which is believed to have the property of making one immortal. After one takes that immortal drink, the elixir, he will never die. Yes, this is his point. Just like elixir, the divine drink makes gods immortal. The beautiful things around us make us love our life, and we cling on to life on earth. This is the point. Just the same way elixir keeps the gods immortal, beautiful things also makes man immortal, because he loves life after watching all these beautiful things around. Further, beautiful things are like heavenly fountain of elixir that overflows from the brinks of heaven. Yes, a clear indication that the Almighty wants man to enjoy the beauty of the world and love his life. It's a divine plan to make man happy. Yes, it is overflowing. It's not simply overflowing. It is overflowing because the Almighty wants that elixir to reach man on earth, so that he becomes happy and he loves his life. This point is made very clear by using the poetic device metaphor. Poet says that beautiful things on earth are actually an overflowing fountain from heaven. Beautiful things is a fountain. An implied comparison without using as or like. Naturally, it is a metaphor. The figure of speech or the poetic device used is metaphor. Poet is making comparison between all the beautiful things to a fountain. These two lines make this physical and materialistic beauty transcend into divine or spiritual. Thus, even a short-living object like a flower also becomes a joy forever, as it originates from heaven and fulfills its purpose of raising human spirit to lofty levels and make him love his life in spite of all kinds of hardships and problems. So let us wind it up with this slide. These lines explain the theme of the poem. Beautiful things around us are not accidental. They are all reaching us due to a divine plan. That is, keeping man happy in spite of all the difficulties, failures and losses he suffers in his life. Beautiful things, as Keats lists out, perform this noble mission of cheering up human spirit whenever he is despondent and desperate. Beautiful things alone make this otherwise harsh and difficult life bearable and even pleasant for mankind. Without them, the world would have been bleak and harsh. So along with Keats, let us also say, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So that is a thing of beauty. Keats makes the mundane into sublime one. An ordinary, very ordinary, beautiful thing into an everlasting spiritual entity. So that way, this poem also is an everlasting influence on human mind. His concept that a thing of beauty is a joy forever for mankind is a great message to us as well. And as the poem is completed, certain worksheet and questions are also sent along with it, some reading material also. Please go through all those and try to complete them. Thank you. Thank you all for your very patient viewing. All the best. Bye.